A lot of people have questions over mixed fractions. So I'm going to go over a demonstration that deals with mixed fractions, mixed and improper. First of all, a mixed fraction is a fraction that looks like a whole number with the fraction on the side of it. And if you notice, the fraction on the side of it is always a regular fraction, which means the numerator is always smaller than the denominator. So if you want to convert a mixed fraction to an improper, I'd call it the boomerang technique. You take 6 and you multiply it by 2, and that'll be your 6 times 2 is 12, and then you add it to 5, which will give you 17. And it's always over the same denominator, which is 6. So 2 and 5 over 6 is equal to 17 over 6 as an improper fraction. And if you want to go backwards, and let's say you have 17 over 6, you ask yourself, how many times can 6 go into 17? Well, 6 can go into 17 a total of 2 times. You know that the denominator is going to always be the same. So you multiply the 2, the whole number in the denominator, that gives you 12. What do you have to add to 12 to get 17? That's 5. So therefore the numerator is 5. So you have 2 and 5 over 6. Let's say you're trying to add two mixed fractions together. So let's say we have 2 and 5 over 6, and we're trying to add that to 3. Two different types of ways to add mixed fractions. You can deal with them as mixed fractions, or you can convert them to improper fractions and deal with them like that. So let's first look at dealing with them as mixed fractions. First thing you want to do is look at the denominators of the little fraction, 6 and 4. Common denominator of 6 and 4, or a common denominator for 6 and 4, would be 12. So what times 6 will give you 12? That'll be 2. And whatever you do to the bottom of a fraction, you must do to the top. What times 4 would be 12? That'll be 3. And so therefore you must do that to the top as well. So what you have is you have 2 and 10 over 12 plus 3 and 9 over 12. So when the denominators are the same, you can go ahead and add it straight across. So what you have is a 5 and 19 over 12. But this is not your final answer, because if you notice, the numerator of the little fraction is bigger than the denominator. So we're going to go off to the side and break up 19 over 12. Remember from the first lesson at the beginning, how many times will 12 go into 19? It goes into 19 once. You know the denominator is going to be the same. What do you have to add? When you multiply 1 times 12, that gives you 12. And what do you have to add to 12 to get 19? That's 7. So 19 over 12 converts to 1 and 7 over 12. So what you really have is a 5 plus 1 and 7 over 12. The reason why it's plus is because the 1 is positive. So this will give you 6 and 7/12. Okay, let's look at it from an improper standpoint. So we have 2 and 5 over 6, and we're adding that to 3 and 9 over 12. So to convert that to a mixed fraction, what you would do is you would multiply 6 times 2, which is 12, add it to 5, so this will give you 17 over 6. On the other side, you would multiply, I apologize, let me rewrite it. This is 2 and 5 over 6 plus 3 and 3 over 4. It's looking at another problem. So 2 and 5 over 6 converts to 17 over 6. 3 and 3 over 4, you multiply 3 times 4 and that gets you 12. And you add it to 3, so that will give you 15 over 4. So, we in the same situation, what's the common denominator of 6 and 4? It's 12, or that is a common denominator. You can also use 24 or 48, those types of numbers as well. As long as both of these numbers will divide into it, that's a common denominator. So to get 12 on the bottom of the first fraction, I multiply by 2. And whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. To get 12 on the bottom of the second fraction, I multiply by 3. And I have to multiply the top also. So what I have is a 34 over 12. And then when I multiply 15 times 3, that gives me a 45 over 12. So now that my denominators are the same, I can add the numerators up. So I have 34 plus 45, and that gives me a 79 over 12. So remember, because you converted it to an improper fraction, the answer is going to be an improper fraction. But you must ask yourself, how do I convert this to a mixed? If the question gives the problem to you as a mixed fraction, then they want the answer as a mixed fraction. So if you go and convert it to improper because it might be easier for you to solve, then you have to convert the answer back to a mixed fraction. So we have 79 over 12. How many times will 12 go into 79? It will go in 6 times because 6 times 12 is 72. The denominator will always be the same. And what do you have to add to 72 to get 79? And that's a 7. So we're at the same point again where we have 6 and 7/12.